Of course, when it comes to any sneaker in the world, the Air Jordan 1 is pretty much the benchmark for anything you want to go with. Sports performance, crossover appeal, style, materials, the whole lot. It's an absolutely beautiful sneaker. And it's really pulled up its game in terms of its alternate silhouettes. And what we're talking about is the lows and the mids. And today's video is all about two of those mids, not just one. Now, behind me on the green screen, I'm sure will be the thumbnail, which is a hybrid of the two shoes today. And we're talking about a metallic orange and we're talking about a tan gum. And basically those shoes, they kind of look very similar. And what I was thinking when I was thinking about making this video was, what can I do with these two shoes? You've got basically two fairly simple Air Jordan 1 mids, and there's not enough meat on the bone to make a video about one of them. So I thought, you know what I'll do is I'll cram the two together in one video and look at the detailing on there. And as we go through these today, you'll probably get an idea of what I mean by that, because you know, if this was the Travis Scott Air Jordan 1s, there's so much on that shoe in terms of design, materials, branding, and really funky little takes on the shoe, like reverse swooshes and things like that, that it's enough for one video. You know what I'm saying? You know, there's enough detailing on there to do one video about that one shoe. But sorry, Jordan line, these two mids, I don't think there's enough meat on the bone to make a video about them. But when you crash them together into one video, there's enough information there and enough details there to do just that. And that's what we're going to do today, is take a look at these guys and look at the differences between the two. So I'm going to start out broad, looking at the larger sort of picture with these guys, and then gradually work our way down to the smaller details. And I want to start with the metallic orange, because that's actually the more unique of the two pairs, and it really sort of punctuates something I've been saying at the channel for the last about 6 months in terms of Jordan 1s, and that was that I saw that the Jordan 1s were going to be moving into that orange world again. It felt like they were just sort of lining these guys up to come back with their starfish oranges, which we've already had a look at, their shattered backboard kind of orange feel there. And we predicted this about 6 months ago, and here we are with one of the most orange shoes of the season. So that's kind of, you know, putting a little exclamation mark on something I've already said at the channel. But what I didn't see was what this shoe is. It's a grade school only size run. Now, I'm only taking this from what I've read online at the different sites. And if you want to know about different sites, you know, there's the top 5 video that I did about the 5 sites that I use the most to get my information to make these videos. And it's those sites that are not saying anything more than a grade school run on these guys. And that kind of surprised me that they would be that limited. It's not unusual, say, for example, at the Kyrie line, recently we had a toddler, preschool, grade school only run with their chip designed shoes, so you've seen it in other places. But when it comes to Jordan 1s, it's kind of rare for them to limit it just to the very smaller sizes. But that's exactly what they're doing with these metallic oranges, and it's probably the biggest detail between the two shoes that's well worth knowing about. It's the size run itself, and that being in the metallic oranges with the grade schools, and then the tans, you know, it's a bit different with those guys, the tan gums, that they are not just a grade school sort of run. They've got a bigger size run than their metallic orange counterparts. So you know, you can't get much bigger than that. We're talking about the whole shoes and what's going on there. Now, we've mentioned, you know, the metallic orange detailing and the sort of story where that fits in. You go over to the tan side of things, and it's a very standard looking Jordan 1, you know, and there's no flair on it whatsoever. It's just your standard kind of colouring and blocking with the white toe wrapping around the edge of that tan, moving back to the white midfoot, and then tan swooshes on there. It's got all of the things you want to have on a Jordan sneaker, but very much standard. So and that's why, like I said, there wasn't enough meat on the bone on these guys to go in there and have a look at one of these for an entire video. But there's enough to have a look at these guys, especially the two main selling points of these shoes. So let's go back to the metallic oranges and we'll look at the main selling point, in my opinion, on this shoe. And we're looking at the lateral side, and hopefully you know what I'm already going to do, which is zooming in very slowly and getting nice and close with that swoosh, which is a great detail for two particular reasons. One is that it's not very common. I don't want to say it's uncommon, but it's not very common to see a white midfoot panel with a white swoosh on top of it in Jordan 1s. And it does happen every so often, but it's kind of rare. If you've got a white midfoot panel, you want that swoosh to pop off. Now, the swoosh appears in Jordan sneakers on these ones, and I'm just trying to think what other Jordan sneakers have a swoosh on the side of them. It was round about, I think, something like the Jordan 8 that the Jordan line separated from the Nike line or something along those lines. The more, the Jordan guys out there would definitely be able to tell us in the comments down below exactly when Jordan and Nike kind of went their separate ways, but it was well before that they stopped putting swooshes on the side of their sneakers. There were some like Jordan 3s recently, the Tinker Hatfield design Jordan 3s that came back and they retroed what they would have looked like with a swoosh, but originally it didn't come with that swoosh. But anyway, the detailing on the side of these guys when it comes to Jordan 1s is very much dominated by the swoosh, and you don't really want the main selling point in your branding to be hidden from view. But that's exactly what happens with these guys because it's a white swoosh on a white midfoot panel. But to override that, and this is the main selling point of the shoe, and to sort of try and compensate for that white on white effect, if you zoom right in on that swoosh, you can see the detailing in there that gives it a very thin outline in orange to try and give it almost a border effect, although it's more in terms of the stitching than it is in terms of a border around the edge. But that's the major feature, is A, it's a white on white swoosh, and B, it's got that sort of border effect in the metallic orange to give it some kind of definition. And then over to the other pair, back to those gum tans, and it's already there. You know where I'm going with this already because it's there in the name of the shoe. It's a Air Jordan 1 with a gum sole on it. So we'll have a look at the actual gum sole, and it almost works, not quite as far as I'm concerned, but it almost works in terms of the tan of the upper matching the gum sole. But when you really look at it, they're actually two different colors, and they haven't quite got the tan above to match the coloring of the gum sole down below. So it's almost there but not quite. But that is the major selling point and the major feature of those gum tans, is that gum sole on the outsole. So that's the two big deals, the two big stories of these shoes: the swooshes on the metallic oranges, which are a grade school run, and then the gum sole outsole on the tan gum, which is a major detail. The people go wild for their gum soles. I'm not a huge fan of a misplaced gum sole. If you have like a blue and green shoe and you throw a gum sole on it, it's like, that doesn't really fit the shoe. But if you have, a brown and yellow shoe and you throw a gum sole on it, it kind of fits the narrative. So it's not just, for me, it's not just a case of chucking a gum sole on there. It has to have reason, it has to fit the story of the shoe. And in the case of these guys, it does fit the story of the shoe, even though they're not quite on point on matching the colours of the upper and the colours of the outsole. So there's the two major details. A few more little details to look at as we look at the shoes. A couple of things that come as standard on Jordan 1 mids and highs, but not necessarily lows, and these aren't lows, so it doesn't really matter. Number one, the Wings logo on the ankle straps on the side, so hopefully the metallic orange is up behind us here, and this is another detail on there, is the fact that they didn't go with white to match the white and orange of the upper, so you've got the orange ankle strap on there, and instead of going with the white Wings logo, they went with a black one to give a little extra point of third color definition. And if we go back to the gum tan ones, you can see that they did do that. The white, the second color, the white base, is the white color they went with on the Wings logo, and that's an interesting detail because it keeps the tan gum guys just in that two colors, gum tan feel and white. And then back to the metallic oranges, you've got the white and orange, but now you've got a third color in there in black. And if you flip them up, not upside down, but you flip them and look down from above and into the insoles of these guys, staying on those metallic oranges, you can see we're staying with the color on the tongues to get that second hit of black there with the Jumpman. But back from that, looking into the insole, it's an orange insole with a white Jumpman logo on the inside, not black. And then back over to the tan guys, and this time they are going with matching tan, Jumpman on the tongue and Jumpman in the insole, and then all of that surrounded in white. So there's a kind of little differences in the details there in terms of the colouring of the Jumpman on the tongue and the insole when it comes to the metallic oranges, doing it one way and adding black in there, and then staying nice and safe with the tan guys and keeping that tan and white colourway going on these guys. And then the last thing to do is have a look at the outsoles, and we already probably had a look at the outsole of the tan guys here, so make sure you've seen that front to back, the full length tan outsole on those guys, and then you go back over to the metallic oranges and you can see that full length orange outsole to finish off these shoes. So the final thing to do, I think, is to bring back that thumbnail, which hopefully is a split of the two shoes, some kind of hybrid, and you can see what I'm talking about. There wasn't enough meat on the bone to do one video about each of these shoes to get 10 minutes of YouTube talk about the gum and tans, or 10 minutes of YouTube talk about the metallic orange grade school guys, but when you crash that together, there's enough information to make one whole video, which is exactly what I just did. And that's enough for today's video. We're going to wrap this one up. It's very late at night here, and it's well after midnight. I need to go have a shower and get ready for work tomorrow. So I'm going to chip off and do that, and I'll just say the same thing that I say at the end of every single video, which is remind you that I do this every single day. And that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.